Hi, guys. I'm sure you didn't expect me because it's been a while since I have done a live. I frequently go short live on TikTok to tell people exactly why I haven't been live. And I think if you are on YouTube, you probably know that I've been releasing a hell lot of content on the gays and UATV English, which is why I have had such a hard time releasing content on here because by the time that I'm done releasing content on the gays and GAZE and UATV English, when I get home from work, I want to curl up in a ball and die. Um, Hi, guys. Because I've basically, so if you're on TikTok, you have heard this whole speech many times, but since I'm live on YouTube for the first time in a while and we're actually going to do some news and talk about some things, I am going to catch you up. First of all, I don't think that you guys on YouTube have seen, hi, buddy. I don't think you guys on YouTube have seen Mave yet. You let me know if you have, but I don't think you have. So Mave is a puppy, and Mave is Mave is a treat. I love her very much. She's fantastic, but she is a puppy. So obviously she pees everywhere that she sees fit, and that includes my bed, my couch, my just like yoga mat, random. She's recently decided that my rug is her favorite peeing place. So Maeve takes up a lot of my time because I'm trying to raise her. I'm also trying to bathroom train her outside. So that means that whenever I have free time, I go on walkies with them and try to praise her out of the wazoo when she goes outside, which she has no problem doing. But she also has no problem going inside as well. At this point, she pees like 8, 9 times a day and poops like 5 to 6 times a day. There is no chance in hell I can walk her this much. We already go on 4 to 5 walks. And I also work a lot because if you haven't realized, I'm releasing 3 segments on UATV English / the gays, and it's red lines, burning questions, and the brief. I have to prepare myself for the brief quite extensively. I also write not scripts, but like bullet points, lines for that one. Interviews, of course, I need to understand who I'm interviewing and what things they have said in the past, even if I don't have to prepare for the topic because I'm usually over prepared for them because I live the news. I do want to know who I'm talking to and what their previous track record of interviews and things they've said has been. So that takes up a lot of time. I also produce a lot of my own segments, and I work with a video editor, and I basically have to write these things. They're called editing lists, where I literally rewatch the news brief and I go 0001 to 0042. Put this picture with this effect for this long. So that takes up a very long time. I also make thumbnails and descriptions for most of the videos. I haven't worked in the burning questions thumbnail yet because I just simply do not freaking have time. So yeah, I've been doing a lot with that. I'm also obviously working for U24. I'm going to pitch them a segment. I'm going to pitch them a segment that I really, thank you so much, Art Pro, that I really want to come out as well. So that means that my time is going to be a lot more limited as well. Also, now I have at least when I just started working, I did not have a set schedule. So it was kind of like, oh, we're recording tomorrow at this time. And then we're recording the day after tomorrow at that time. We tried a lot of different segments. We landed on 3 that we like. And, now I at least have a schedule of okay, I record these things on Mondays and Wednesdays and Thursdays. And that's basically what it is. So I have a schedule, so I should be able to, go live again because I know when I'm off and I know the days that I'm not working, but the days that I'm not recording, I'm editing my videos. So I'm also going to the United States for a month on the 23rd. Here is something. I'm going to Ukraine Action Summit. Actually, I land on the 23rd at night. And then I am going to DC on the 25th in the morning, like early morning, because I'm going to Action Ukraine summit, and one of the congressmen that I really wanted to talk to actually agreed to talk to me. Well, not just me, it's going to be me and Bill Cole. You might have seen him. He's a huge activist for Ukraine. He's not a social media personality, but he is an American who works in tech, and he has been like helping this amazing. I've interviewed him. He has been helping this amazing company that does VR therapy for civilians and veterans, and also like does a lot of like sort of just tech and some things that I can't say online as well. So he has been helping them kind of like get like world like basically work worldwide and stuff. So he's great, and he organized this meeting. He has been advocating for Ukraine crazily. He messages senators. He has a lot of connections. He like emails them all the time. He's like, I think Lindsey Graham now, when he sees his name, he's like, "Oh my God, this guy again." But he usually tries to target Republican senators to sort of like change their minds or boost the support and stuff. So we're going to be meeting one of the senators. I don't know if I can say who I'm meeting before I actually meet them, so you'll have to find out when I'm there. And I will be in the US from the 23rd of September to the 22nd of October. I'm also planning a short trip for a week to Canada, to the Toronto area. So maybe I can organize something. So because I've been thinking of like doing a little get together with the people that we usually interact with on lives, and maybe I can do one in Canada as well if there are people in the Toronto area. So maybe that, we will see. But lots of things are happening. A lot more things are going to be happening. And I'm still going to be producing things on the gays while I'm in New York, because my room is set up there for briefs. Also, I need to send tracking numbers to people for their Russia is a terrorist state sweatshirt, because if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a complete moron when it comes to like sending things. Why did I think I could successfully send something abroad? I don't know, from Ukraine for the first time, but basically it came back in the mail to me and it's right here. So what I've realized I've done wrong is I did not want to put my own address onto the outgoing mail, and that basically bounced it back because it was the wrong address, obviously. And Ukraine is much more diligent in mail than the US is, or Canada is, I guess. So yeah, it bounced back. Will not be making that mistake again. I will just put an address where I no longer live in Lviv. But if they do check it, I did used to live there. So yeah, there is that. So Martin, Chad, and Maria, my apologies. I know it's been a very long time. I have finally found the source of why these packages still haven't made it to you, because again, I am so fucking bad at mail. I legitimately do not know anyone else who's this bad at mail. I have previously sent a package to Kat. You know her as Glitter Spirit Cat, and it arrived opened and empty, and they delivered it. So yeah, do I have to register as a foreign agent? No, we don't have a foreign agents law. We're not a monitored country. We're a democracy. I'm also not a foreign agent. I'm a Ukrainian citizen. But I did have a lot of freaking trouble with Monobank, and I might no longer have a Monobank account because they do not have the prerogative to service people who are taxpayers in other countries, because they cannot identify the source of their income. My bank account with Monobank has been frozen since Saturday, and I have been fighting with them since Saturday, but that's cool. I mean, I opened a different bank account, but I'm really mad. And also that makes it very difficult for me to open fundraisers, because there is this fundraiser that I have been that we actually have $200 to start with, because you guys have donated to it when I mentioned it last time when I went live, which I believe was like 3 weeks ago. The fundraiser is still going to happen. It's for Starlinks. But so now I have an issue because I need to open a monobank jar for it, and my account like doesn't work, because they're like, hey, we cannot identify where your money is coming from. And I'm like, it's coming from America. And they're like, we need this, and that. And can you also submit a W-9 for us? And I'm like, no, what? So anyways, I basically I showed them where my money is coming from, which is like in my American account. But but they were like, oh, what do you do for a living? Can you show us this? Can you show us that? I'm like, no, because I can show that to the United States, where the jurisdiction applies, but you do not have a jurisdiction to fucking ask me for my life's worth of like, tax returns from the US. Like, it's none of your business. Anyways, so and just a whole thing. So it's been a lot of stuff. Also, Russia has increased their air attacks on Ukraine. So while there haven't been a lot of like a lot of things sort of while there haven't been any like thankfully hits in Kyiv for a while, we have had a lot of like drone attacks in the past week or so. And it's like, I stopped using AC because I don't want to like waste electricity, and it's cold enough for me to open windows. So it's like at 3 a.m, the air raid starts. Mave starts barking and like howling, because she does that. She's like a little husky. And I wake up, obviously, and it's like, imagine you hear your dog howl in the middle of your sleep. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced it. It's like not a fun way to wake up, because you're kind of disheveled. You're like half in your dream still. And you're just like, oh, well, this is happening. And then when they take down drones, which is something I didn't realize because Anastasia pointed it out, but it sounds very, very, very loud. For instance, in Lviv, they take down drones with like machine guns. In Kyiv, they use proper air defense to do that, so it's like a proper explosion, and it sounds like привет. It sounds like apocalypse. So you just sort of 3 a.m, you wake up, you're like your dog is going crazy, you're sort of like mid dream, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? You like, it's been 2-3 seconds since you've woken up, and you're like, boom, boom, and you're like, oh, area defense is working. And then your dog is just going even more crazy because she's a dog. So that's been sort of a lot of my nights. I also slept most of the day today after I finished work, which was from 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m. I was doing a bunch of work stuff. And then I just passed out from, I want to say 6 p.m. to like 9 p.m., maybe 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. because I like literally woke up today and I thought I had COVID, because some people in my office did, but I did a test. It's not COVID, but I was literally like, I felt like a bus ran over me. Like I could barely move. I could barely open my eyes. Like my body was itchy and stuff, and like achy and stuff. And I was just like, oh. So I went and took a very, very long nap, which is why I'm able to do a live today, like unlike other days when I'm tired, because I had an ability to sleep half the day. Also, oh my god, Taz, 20 months. Oh, also thank you, Dubsy, and thank you whoever sent the little pause before that. I'm sorry I didn't react because I was gonna, and then I obviously got distracted by talking. Also, let me say the hellos. Okay, so hi Hugh, hi Bommy, hi Aspid, hi Prexis, hi Armin, hi Jennifer, or Juju rather. Hi QR, hi Karen, Drake. Oh hi, hi Diane, Carolyn, Mark, Brian, Yalmar, Brian R. Hi Cheryl, hi Martin, hi Natalia, hi Lynn. Oh my gosh, hi Martin UK, hi Demon Orb, my favorite handle on YouTube. Hi Dave Dodd, hi Drew, hi James, hi Jedi Mike and Claire and Detalina and Prexis. I think those are everyone. And hello Yana, hi everyone on TikTok. Sorry, I can't. If I start scrolling, I'm never gonna. Oh, hi Christina. How can one sleep when people are being killed? I mean, unfortunately, it's like it's a reality you live in. If you stop sleeping, then you're also going to be one of those people who just like drives themselves to a very bad health emergency. Speaking of, I don't know how many of you have been listening to Ukraine the latest on the Telegraph, but their host David Knowles, literally, which is such a tragedy. He passed away from, I believe, a heart attack. It was a health emergency, and it happened yesterday. He was 32 years old, and nothing had predicted that. A lot of my friends have known him personally. I have spoken to him quite a few times online, but have never met him in person. My friend Yulia is really affected by it because she spent a lot of time with him, and she's been on the podcast quite a few times. They've met at the summit, at one of the summits, I think Ukraine Defense Summit, or European Defense Summit, or NATO Defense Summit, one of the summits. And it's the Telegraph today released an episode where Dominic, who's another host of Ukraine the latest, was like, genuinely, it was so like hard to listen to because you could hear he was literally crying on air, and they decided not to do the updates today. Also, apparently, David set up an email every Friday to reach everyone's inbox on Monday to sort of outline what they should talk about in the Monday episode, because he was like helping them. And apparently they all got this email in the inbox today, which I cannot even imagine like how earth-shattering that is, because you had just found out like your friend and co-host died from a health emergency that no one was expecting at all because his heart was fine. And then you receive an email from him in your inbox. That's just, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of crazy. So yeah, that's sort of what's been, what happened. And I thought it was like such a sad, tragic event because David was like a very good ally to Ukraine. He was, he really put his heart and soul into the podcast. I mean, here's the thing, like, I don't particularly love the Telegraph podcast since they've moved to London instead of being in Ukraine. And instead of being in Ukraine, or instead of sort of like, they had quite a few like good Russians on there and stuff like that. But I mean, he did really love Ukraine. He did really like put all of his like all of his like heart and soul into creating this podcast, just because I found, just because for me it was boring because I already live in it. And like, I'm in Ukraine, not like sort of, I don't need to listen to English people discuss the war in Ukraine because I live it. So like, I'm not really unbiased. Right. But I know it's a great podcast. I know a lot of people listen to it. I know that a lot of people rely on it. I know that a lot of people take their news from there, and it reaches a lot of people, and it keeps the support for Ukraine going. So like, I can dismiss that. And that's the most important part to begin with. And so it's great. It's great. Also, Tara, yes, I know. I mean, it's not like I'm supporting Pepsi. It's something I'm sleeping in because I just had it, and I'm like, not wearing it outside. This is just a t-shirt that I sleep in because I'm doing laundry. But by no means am I advertising Pepsi. And also, like, here's the thing, like, so the whole thing about Pepsi doing business in Russia is like, yeah, I know. I'm just also not being, not expressing any animosity either, or not being combative in any way. I just feel like brain working information is hard right now. And, oh, hi, Michael. But yeah, the whole thing about Pepsi being in Russia is very like, there is a lot to it, and it's not so straightforward. It's really hard for businesses to sell their stocks and their factories and exit Russia, and Russia makes it difficult for them on purpose. That whole thing about like Pepsi opening a new factory in Russia was like, so two Ukrainian news outlets wrote about it, but the source of it was RT, and Pepsi denies it. And there is also no pictures of that factory or anything like that. Like no current recent pictures. The picture they put up was like a picture from, I think, 2019. So that's not necessarily true. And if we listen to Pepsi, then Pepsi denied all of this. If we listen to Russia, then Russia is like, yeah, they're opening factories and they're, like they're working in Russia. but it's not, like Ritter Sport. Like, screw them, like Russian kids need chocolate too. So I think there is a difference between a company trying to get out, but like having a really hard time and not wanting to lose millions of dollars. And there is which still not justifiable, but like better than, Ritter Sport being like, Nazi kids need chocolate too. So yeah. So also Cheryl says that David passed away from cardiac arrest, not heart attack. But I mean, I don't, I don't know the details. I think very few people do it right now, at the moment. But yeah, it's a very tragic event and a very large loss, no matter how it happened. I don't want to spread misinformation about his passing, but I do know that everyone has been saying health emergency, and my friend who was friends with him said heart attack. So also let me show you Mave, and then we'll dive into the news. And one second. Wait. Hey, Bubs. Hey, Bubs. Some people want to meet you because you're an adorable little munchkin. People want to meet you. Hello. Mave. Hi, Bubs. Move the mic away. Hi, Bubba. I'm sorry. I know I woke you up. It's a hard life of being a bulldog celebrity. I'm kidding. Well, so this is not Cinny. This is Mave. I have 2 dogs now. I have 2 French bulldogs because I'm crazy. Oh. What's up? She's very different than Cinny. Like, Cinny doesn't react to noises. Cinny's not scared of anything. She's a very sheltered little child who's scared of noises and reacts to noises. And, at first when we were walking out to go outside in the hallway, she was like, hallway wants to kill me. Hallway is an enemy. Right. Okay. Okay. Say bye, Baba. Say bye. Okay. I'm gonna bring you back to sleep. Yes, so that was Mave. She is a baby bulldog. It's my dog, not a foster. Her and Cinny got along fantastically. Cinny feels like Cinny took the role of an older sister, like, way too seriously. It's so funny because like Mave copies everything Cinny does, and Mave, like, their dynamic, unlike what happened with Liv, is very much like Mave knows that this is like the leader of the pack. Cinny is the leader of the pack. She knows that Cinny is senior to her, and she sort of like treats Cinny as such. They get along really well, and it's so funny because I can tell Cinny gets off on this power trip so much. Cinny is such a spoiled little selfish brat. It's hilarious. Like, she protects Mave. She's like really good to Mave. She lets her like steal her toys, all of this stuff. But at the same time, like, I can see that like when they go outside, Cinny's like, Cinny's shoulders are broad. She's like, she is leading Mave outside. Okay. Cinny goes to pee. Mave sees this. She goes to pee. Cinny goes, number 2. Mave sees this. She goes number 2. Cinny goes to smell a rock. Mave, hi lamb chop. Mave will do the same thing. And it's like, Cinny like leads, and I can tell she loves that role. She's like, yes, I lead. I'm a leader. Yes, me. Because you guys know Cinny. Like, Cinny is such a little spoiled brat. Like, she freaking loves this. She loves that there is a creature that considers her leader of the pack and follows her and copies her and things like that. Oh, hi Lauren. And hi Antelopes. So like, it's Cinny loves it. She's just like, yes, me, copy me, love me. Anyways, okay, so I think we are ready for the news bit. As you can, oh, thank you, Dave. Thank you so much for your contribution. I have, so okay, like, one last thing. I literally like, it's been so incredibly like finance draining. Hi, Joey. In this part of the world, like it's been everything has been breaking one by one. So first, a friend of mine went and left for the US and left me his car. It's a very, very old Mercedes ML. When I say Mercedes ML, do not think luxury. It is like a 2001, I think, Mercedes ML that has a lot of issues. And I'm very grateful to have a car. I'm not complaining by any means. It's very convenient. I can drive to work. I can drive dogs places. I can finally go and get like epicenter and stuff like that. But so the car was at the front and then it wasn't. Um, and so there is like a back seat missing. I mean, its suspension is really good. Like someone updated suspension on it. And so like it can like get up on very high, high curbs and stuff. And the curb in front of my building is so high that no one can park there except for me. Oh yeah, Joey, it would be so good to see you here, but you'll be back in New York when I'm also there. So maybe we can meet finally in person there. But so yeah, so a tire blew up literally because this car has been going back and forth east to west for like the past year, and the tires literally had no protection left on it. I did not know. I was driving, a tire blew up, so I had to go to a tire mechanic, and they were like, we need to replace all of these tires, and like if you buy them new, it's going to be $1,000. If you buy them not new, it's going to be less. But it was like a buttload of money that I had to spend. My washer broke forever. I had this like small little tiny washer that traveled to the middle of my bathroom every single time it did a spin cycle. And when you say just level it, it was leveled. It was leveled. It also sounded like it was trying to murder someone when it was literally washing clothes. It was really bad. So yeah, there was that. I'm not even like like I'm not even going. I'm like forgetting half of the stuff that happened in the past 30 days, but uh, but I just feel like everywhere I turn, something breaks or something needs to be replaced. Oh, I also like, so the car again was at the front and it was incredibly, incredibly dirty. I went to go grocery shopping and there was like a car wash in the parking lot of the shop of like the mall where there was a grocery store. And I was like, let me wash it. Normally a car wash is about like $50 in Ukraine if you do ins and outs and the inside and the outside. But this was like 100 something because it was so dirty. It had like mud inside of it. And it took them 3.5 hours instead of the usual hour and a half. And when I came back, they were like, hey, listen, please come back. We'll do your ceiling for free because we just didn't have any time unless you want to stay here for another hour. And I was like, absolutely freaking not. I've been literally doing nothing and like walking around and try to stay busy for the past hour. Yeah. there is quite a bit of stuff. And these are just oh, okay, the thingy died. Sorry, I was like, did my power go off? Because I was like, it's not supposed to. I'm supposed to have power, but no, power didn't go off. My light just died. One sec. I was like, what the hell just happened? One sec. No. Fine, I'll charge you. But are you charged? Because I've been... Okay. This should be charged for a while. And when that dies, I will just use this again. Because at that point, this is not going to be dead anymore. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Where was I? Was that a car or a boat? Yeah. Well, so it's been like, it's just been like genuinely a lot of like really stupid expenses that I did not like anticipate. And it's just been like tires, 130 each. Even high grade tires shouldn't cost you more than 500. Well, so for that car, the tires that were on it, the car mechanic told me that if I were to buy all new tires, it would be 10,000 hryvnias each tire. 40,000 hryvnias together is $1,000. I did not pay $1,000. I paid like half of that, a little less than half of that, which I had to like max out my Ukrainian credit for because it was just something that I did not expect happen at the time. And I mean, I couldn't drive on it anymore. Because it like I mean, hey, a tire blew up and replacing one tire was not really an option because the rest of the tires had like cracks on them, and he literally showed me. He was like, dude, you're gonna drive out of here, you're gonna come back tomorrow because your other tire is gonna blow up. Like, it's super not safe, and like you shouldn't be doing that. So I obviously replaced all of them in one go because what was I gonna do? I also couldn't even get home if I didn't do that. And what's the point of me saying that, like, I already did that? Like, it's not like I'm like, hey guys, let's fundraise for tires. What's the freaking point of me, like, of me telling you that I paid a buttload of money for tires, and if I were to buy them new, it would be $1,000. I did not buy them new. I never would have. Also, it's not my car, but I got like the best tires they had for a budget that I could like afford. Like the closest replacement to the tires that car had before. So there's that. Anyways, thank you, Michael. I really appreciate that. But okay, let's get into are you having to drive a lot in Kyiv? How walkable is it? Okay, so Kyiv is incredibly walkable. It's kind of as walkable as New York City is. But like in New York City, for instance, if you need to buy like I don't know, extension cords or something like electronics or something like everyday type of items, or like a mop or something like that, you go to a corner store or you freaking go to literally any CVS or Walgreens. So in Kyiv, we don't have those types of things. You have to go to like a mall into Epicenter, which is like a Home Depot. You would buy like a mop at Home Depot. So anytime I need to go get like cleaning supplies, not just like one thing of like one cleaner or something, like whatever, like usual stores will carry weird brands that are not good and that are like super toxic and stuff like that, like old school stuff. But if you want to get like normal cleaning supplies that are, like eco-friendly, and I don't know, buy like, I don't know, maxi rolls of paper towels and stuff like that, you have to freaking go to Epicenter or order them online. And so, yeah, I do drive a lot because if I need to go get groceries or if I need to go get like cleaning supplies or mops or like whatever, I have to go to Epicenter, which is never anywhere in the city. It's always like on the outskirts. It's like you have to take a car, because here's the thing. Kyiv has subway, and like people in Kyiv will probably say that the subway in Kyiv is efficient. I beg to differ, because the only reason one can think that Kyiv subway is efficient is if they have never been on New York City subway or like any other European subway. Because here's what happens in Kyiv. The subway was built in the Soviet Union. So Kyiv is huge, right? Like, let's say you have Manhattan, right? And like, let's say you have like Harlem, you have Uptown, you have Downtown, you have like Midtown, right? Like Lower East Side, whatever. And the subway in New York will drop you off every few blocks in these neighborhoods. So that way it's super efficient because you can get anywhere, right? In Kyiv, like there's one stop on the Upper East Side, one stop on the Upper West Side, one stop on like in Midtown, one stop in Downtown, one stop in like in Dumbo, one stop in Williamsburg. So it drops you off in the middle of the neighborhood. And that's it. So like if I need to go, and it's huge, Kyiv is huge. So like let's say if I need to go somewhere like in a particular neighborhood, I'll be dropped off in the middle of it, and I will still have to walk like 15 minutes or like 20 minutes somewhere. It's very not efficient. Also, the thing is, Kyiv has really, really deep subways, which is why they're used as like bomb shelters, and they're actually like proper bomb shelters, not just hideouts. Like nothing is gonna freaking happen to you unless like an atomic bomb is dropped on you. Like Kyiv city subway is so safe during air attacks. So, where was I going with this? Yeah. It takes you like 10 minutes to get into the subway, and the deepest subway station in the world is Arsenalna in Kyiv. It is like 35 stories deep. So it takes you longer to literally get to the subway platform than it does to like actually take the subway, and then you never get to where you need to go. You just get in the middle of the neighborhood where you need to go. So I freaking hate the subway in the city. Like, it is so literally so inefficient. But I love everything else here. But yeah, I have not taken the subway here since I was 11, and I'm not planning on doing that. Also, like, it's claustrophobic. Like, literally getting down into the subway station for me is just like, it's painful, and it's for like, I don't know, I feel awful. I could use it as a bomb shelter. Do I want to use it as a means of transportation? No. um I think they were built as atomic bomb shelters. Yeah, probably. I mean, they must have been dual purpose. Okay, where was I? I wanted to check two things, and once I do, just because if I don't, I will forget to do that later. Once I check those things, we can start the news. And I do really, 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 yeah, I'm recording on YouTube. I do really need to start the fundraiser for Starlinks. I can't open a monobank jar. My goal is like $2,500 for the Starlinks, and that buys quite a few of them. It's one Starlink is like 250. So I need to figure out how to do that just using like PayPal and Venmo, which I mean, we usually do, but also like the thing is, like, you know, the charity that I'm doing it with, which is Zigaspaw, is is um uh, like Ukrainian charities like having a monobank jar because, you know, it's easier, but I just don't really know what to do with this monobank situation. I really want to just like, I'm so mad at them. Okay. Well, anyways, you know where to donate to if you would like to. I will officially create the fundraiser tomorrow once I figure out what the hell to do with Monobank. But we are at $200 to start out of 2,500, so that's a great start. And if you would like to donate before tomorrow, when I officially post it everywhere, you're more than welcome to do that. Obviously, you know, I have PayPal and Venmo and Revolut, and you have all the links to it. And if you don't, Grumpy and Rebecca's and Catherine can post them. Link their Monobank jar. That's not how it works because I can't track it, right? Like, I don't know which donations came from who, so I don't know if I've like raised my amount. And Monobank now does this thing where you can open like daughter jars or like extension jars from the main jar. So that was the idea, but now I don't know what the fuck to do. So I'm going to obviously talk to them tomorrow about it. I mean, like, it shouldn't be a problem, but it's just like nice to have. Hi, Bill. Heroyam Slava. And Rebecca's, I need to speak to you soon. So can we please schedule a phone call? Because I know I'm very busy and you have been very busy and it's been difficult. You're off to work. Oh, have a great day, Claire. Okay. Payment difficulties hit Russians holding yuan savings. Moscow Times reports. PayPal is working fantastic. Russians who chose to keep part of their savings in yuan are now facing rising costs for transferring their funds, as Russian banks have sharply increased tariffs for yuan transfers, that is Chinese money. According to Moscow Times, several banks now charge over 6% in fees for such transfers. Uralsibbank announced a 6.5% commission starting September 13th, while SDM Bank increased its rate to 6.2%, and Expo Bank raised its fee to 6.5% last week. These fees can now rival the maximum annual interest rates on yuan deposits in Russian banks, which typically do not exceed 6.5%. The increased tariffs are a consequence of difficulties in making payments in Chinese currency, exacerbated by the US threats of secondary sanctions on foreign banks assisting Russia. This situation has led some Russians to extend their deposits with the same bank or withdraw cash to avoid losing their savings. Additionally, one of Russia's largest brokers has recently stopped allowing yuan withdrawals from accounts. Boo-hoo. Also, speaking of Russia, I mean, this is great news, but this does by no means trample the fact that, we continuously keep fighting Russia and Russian propaganda and Russian things. And then TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, and Biennale decide to release a documentary called Russians at War. The documentary is filmed by a woman who was the documentary department director and editor-in-chief at RT, Russia Today. So yeah, that was fun. This is a woman who is literally a propagandist who was working on propaganda documentaries for Russian television and for a literal government propaganda channel that has not only been banned in most Western countries, but also the DOJ had just literally indicted people that were paid by Russia Today to create propaganda for Russians in the United States. It's wild. Also, Canada has this film fund, and that Canada Film Fund has given 340,000 of Canadian taxpayer dollars to create this film. And then, people are like, why are you so against Russians in cultural spaces? And why are you so against good Russians who immigrated trying to do their best? Because they do not leave Russia to stay out of Russia's business. They do not leave Russia because they don't want Ukraine to be bombed. They leave Russia because they don't like to be sanctioned. And then they literally, it's here's what happened. This woman left Russia, right? Came to Canada, and people were like, oh, but she's a good Russian. Let's give her some money to create documentaries about Russia. And then she's like, look at these poor Russian soldiers. They struggle to make Soviet ammunition work. They have senses of humor. They have families, their brothers and fathers, and they're avenging the deaths of their dead comrades. And it's so bad. For the 7 months that I was with them, I haven't seen any war crimes. Okay, first of all, the only place where Russian soldiers should have a voice is The Hague. Also, thank you, this MFer. Hi, good to see you. The only place where Russian soldiers should have a voice is The Hague, International Criminal Court. Second of all, if they're struggling to make Soviet ammunition work, all they fucking have to do is leave back to Russia. I had this whole blowout sort of video that I recorded today on TikTok for this dude who was like, I support Ukraine fully, but war is hell on both sides. No, it's not. Please stop both sidesing this whole situation. For Russians to be in safety and for them to stop dying, all they have to do is leave Ukraine. For Ukrainians, we have to literally defeat Russia, because otherwise Russia is just going to consume us and swallow us, and we're going to continue dying. Also, it's not hell on both sides because Russian civilians do not die in their sleep like the Bazilevich family did in Ukraine, in Lviv. Russians do not experience bombings at night. And someone was like, Moscow woke up to explosions today. No, they didn't. But if they did, it was an ammo base and it was just loud. While Ukrainians literally wake up or not wake up in their homes because Russia targets civilians all the fucking time. Also, someone was like, the way that you dehumanize Russian soldiers, it's like, oh my God, they're people too. What you're doing is just as bad. Really? Calling Russian soldiers orcs and dehumanizing them verbally is just as bad as Russian soldiers who torture, rape, and unalive Ukrainian civilians? Really? Is that just as bad? Because as far as I'm concerned, Ukrainians only dehumanize Russians on words because they're inhumane. Meanwhile, Russians, first of all, when they sleep in their safe-ass apartments in Moscow and St. Petersburg, they cheer on the bombings of Kyiv. And they want more. They want more civilians to die. Hi, Joe. They want, they love it. You can just look at Russian Telegram chats, and it's a lot of Russians, it's hundreds of thousands. So you can't say oh, these are just bad apples. No, that's pretty fucking representative of their population. And yeah, Russians dehumanize us by torturing, raping, assaulting, unaliving civilians. So, from where I'm standing, calling Russians orcs is not just as bad as that. It's really not. So yeah, fuck TIFF. There was a massive, like super massive protest today in Toronto. I think it's still going on. Against this documentary and against screening this documentary. I don't know if they refused everyone that I'm talking to says that everyone that I'm talking to says that they aired the film. Unfortunately, despite this huge protest going on. Yeah, so this was TIFF Festival today, and despite that, they still aired the film. But you know, screw them, I guess. I would not be surprised if the people who were approving budgets for these documentaries are Russian, and that I would not be surprised if chair of TIFF somewhere is Russian. Also, there is a lovely little troll up on YouTube with a lovely little handle called My Balls Itch. Well, then go fucking itch them, not my problem. And it says, Ukraine asked for this when they supported the 2014 coup. First of all, it wasn't a coup. Yanukovych fled, so get your facts straight, okay? Second of all, it's not Russia's problem what happens in Ukraine. Ukraine is a separate country, so even if we fucking put Maduro as our president, it would not be Russia's issue, okay? Because Russia has literally zero prerogative to meddle within sovereign countries' affairs, okay? Like, literally, they cannot choose for us what we do. Second of all, it wasn't a coup because we elected Yanukovych because he was promising a pro-European platform. He promised us that we would be joining Europe and he would sign all of these agreements. He said that we would be moving towards Ukraine and the European Union. And then he went back and literally without our consent, the people that elected him to do exactly that, he decided to join Russia because he was a Russian puppet, right? So that was not a coup, it was a revolution. And we're allowed to do that when our representatives don't represent us. Makes sense, right? Anyways, if you want to spread propaganda somewhere, do it somewhere else. I know that also if your balls itch, maybe check yourself for syphilis, chlamydia, or whatever it is. I would assume syphilis because that does get to your brain and start destroying it. And it does seem like it started doing so. So I would say, please go check yourself for syph. It does seem like you might have it, and that's not good because you could still reverse the effects of that, but if you the longer you wait, the less chances there are that you could save yourself. So yeah, please go get an STD check. And anyways, since you think that you're going, like, I know what trolls do. Trolls like try to, like, you know, make me angry with these comments. You guys entertain me. You also, you know, you make me talk about things that for some reason make YouTube show my videos to more people. So I'm very grateful to you for that. Thanks for your engagement. Love you. You're my biggest supporters. Such dedicated fans. Can you reverse the effects of being a Russian? Evidently not. QR says, I'm sure Nazi soldiers were also brothers and fathers. They were surely enduring hardship on the front, etc. Maybe she should make some documentary to humanize them as well. Yeah, well, so there was some woman called Leni something, actually someone, Leni Riefenstahl. So she did that. So that's literally the same thing. And I guess we've seen Russia take the Nazi playbook and follow it before. So why not now? But yeah, literally the only place where Russian soldiers should have a voice is The Hague. And her entire narrative of, like, the bridge of communication between these soldiers and the West has been broken in the beginning of the invasion, you know? In the West, they're like war criminals. And in Ukraine, there are these heroes that, in Russia, there are these heroes that never die, which is also taken from literally, like, Ukraine. Oh, thank you, Kalu. and welcome. It's like, yeah, there are war criminals. Even if you haven't seen them commit war crimes, it's kind of like there have been 100,000 plus recorded officially and confirmed by the International Criminal Court in The Hague, where this documentary should air. And mockumentary, I mean, it doesn't matter if you have seen war crimes. It doesn't matter if they're husbands and fathers. They're war criminals, not just in the West, but in general, because they illegally crossed the territory of another country and invaded it. Simple as that. Okay. Incidents that were unthinkable 3 years ago are now considered routine. Lithuanian Foreign Minister Gabrielius Landsbergis on Russian drones on the territory of NATO countries. I really hope that finally NATO is going to do something, because a drone with explosives fell on Latvia's territory, and Latvia is the Baltics, and the Baltics are the best. And if someone was going to be incredibly vocal and pressure NATO to like have a response of some sort, it would be the Baltics. So I'm very hopeful. Sweden announced a new military aid package for Ukraine. The Swedish government has unveiled a new military aid package for Ukraine valued at 4.6 billion Swedish kroner, approximately 400 million euro. The assistance is designed to address Ukraine's most urgent military needs and to support future operations. Google prohibits the registration of new accounts for Russian numbers as a result of the new package of U.S. sanctions, Russian media reported. Aww, sad. They can't use Gmail anymore. That should have happened 2.5 years ago. Aww. China to continue efforts for political settlement in Ukraine conflict, says President Xi Jinping. Sorry. Fuck you. That's all I have to say to that. First of all, like, I am so effing mad at people calling it the Russia-Ukraine conflict or Ukraine conflict or the Russia-Ukraine situation, okay? There is this YouTuber that I watch, and I'm not saying this in order to like give her any like hardship or anything, because she's not a political YouTuber by any means. She's not, one sec. She doesn't do like any political content by any means. She is a YouTuber that does these like, one sec. So if you know one thing about me that's not political, is that I love true crime shows. This is how I calm my brain and sort of like, this is how I rest. And this is what I do before I go to sleep. I watch like true crime documentaries. I also like true crime YouTubers. This is the type of thing I watch to sort of relax and like, decompress my brain. So there is this one YouTuber. Her YouTube account is called Swoop. She's really big. She's also great. Like, I absolutely love her shows. Like, she provides a lot of evidence. She doesn't just, hi Brian. She doesn't just say stupid stuff to say stupid stuff. Like, she does a lot of like true crime style documentaries on like influencers, but not on drama, but on things that they do to manipulate audiences and like things that are really dangerous and that people fall for. I really like her. And so a lot of the times when she does her shows, she will do this thing where she will mention, like, for instance, she'll be like, oh, this happened on this day, which by the way is the birthday of like Mahatma Gandhi and also 465th day of the Ukraine-Russia situation. And she does this, like, she will list like the events that happened on that day. And I know that the reason why she includes the Russian invasion of Ukraine into this stuff is to just remind people that it's still going on and to show how long it's been happening, right? To kind of illustrate time. And it's like a great thing that she does that also works with her content, that doesn't go like, hey, by the way, I'm not a political YouTuber, but there is a war in Ukraine. So it's fantastic, but she calls it the Russia-Ukraine situation, the Ukraine-Russia situation, the Russia-Ukraine war, the conflict. And like, I know she means well, and I know her intentions are to remind people that normally wouldn't watch political content, that watch entertaining content, right? That there is this huge thing happening and it's bad. But because like she says it in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the Russia-Ukraine situation, it takes away from it. It also kind of both sides it. So, like, if you are doing any sort of public outreach or any sort of public speaking, please do not call it the Russia Ukraine war situation conflict thing, just Russian invasion of Ukraine or illegal Russian invasion of Ukraine, because it does it more harm than good to call it the Russia Ukraine situation. She minimizes it, yeah. And she doesn't do it on purpose. And it's not her type of content, right? She's actually like trying to do a good thing. She's trying to keep it in the news and in the media, and like, you know, she's trying to keep it like in people's minds, but it's just like the phrasing is really bad. But she's a great YouTuber, and I advise you check her out and maybe like politely mention it in her comments to call it the, you know, the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Lithuania prepares national mass evacuation plan amid ongoing war in Ukraine. Lithuania is set to develop a comprehensive national mass evacuation plan in October in response to the continued war in Ukraine and increasing concerns over civil defense. The Minister of Internal Affairs emphasized the importance of strengthening civil protection as hybrid attacks, disinformation, and sabotage become more prevalent in the region. While local self-governments have their own evacuation plans, she noted the need for a coordinated national strategy. And that's good. I mean, like, see, people call it warmongering, but like it isn't, because you would like, here's the thing, like, even if it wasn't likely, but it's happening next to you, it's happening close to you, it's really important that you're overprepared than underprepared. German government, no signs of Kremlin's readiness for constructive peace talks. Thank you. And I really hope that Xi Jinping wakes up with a poster that says that literally in front of him, because all of his, you know, his entire like rhetoric of like, oh, I want to continue peace talks with Ukraine and Russia. Really? Maybe then you will stop sending like washing machine parts in you know, that could be used to, maybe you should stop sending washing machine parts that could be used as weapons to Russia, and maybe you could stop QR, thank you, and also thank you for your donation. I really, really appreciate it. I'm sorry, I thought that I said I said that when I read your comment, but I just realized I didn't. And good night. But yeah, maybe like China should stop like sending, you know, ammo pieces to Russia, and maybe it should stop like overtly and covertly supporting Russia and like adding to its economy. Maybe it should do that, and then like consider helping peace talks to end the war, like so Russia can get the F out of Ukraine, not so they can force Ukraine to surrender. That'd be great. Stefan Haberstreit, spokesperson for the German government, stated that while there is a global desire to see the war in Ukraine end soon, the Kremlin has shown no indication of being open to meaningful peace negotiations. He noted that recent statements from Moscow do not suggest any willingness to engage in constructive discussion. Despite this, Haberstreit affirmed that Chancellor Olaf Scholz remains open to speaking with Russian President Vladimir Putin if he deems the timing appropriate for such a conversation, according to Bild. No, please stop talking to Putin. Also, yeah, Russia is showing no signs of wanting to do any sort of peace agreements or peace talks by you know, killing civilians consistently, like they did in Lviv the other day. Actually, that building that was ruined in Lviv is a building that, I know Bild is a tabloid, but like that building that was destroyed in Lviv, where that family died, the Bozilevich family, where the mom and her 3 daughters died and the dad didn't die. By the way, you know, the reason why he didn't die, they were all sheltering on the staircase of their building because that's considered more safe than being in your apartment. And he went to go get water for his family, and that's when the missile hit, and that's the reason why he was the only one to survive. He was not at the stairs. He went back into the apartment, and I cannot imagine how he fucking feels. Also, that building that was destroyed where they lived, I lived in that building when I was 3 years old. We were doing our, we were renovating our apartment, and we lived there for a year. I lived on the 2nd floor, I believe. Yeah, I remember I have only a few memories from that place, and I remember watching Looney Tunes, specifically Space Jam, on like the very, very old TV in the living room. So yeah, there is that. And also that's my grandma's neighborhood where she currently lives, and her grocery store and bakery that she closed recently after 30 years of operation that she's now renting out to a random grocery store. All of the windows were blown out because it's like, so the building is right here, it's like on the street, and then the grocery store is like 3 buildings up on the corner. And so that was another thing that was that happened. Tires blown out, windows blown out, a lot of things. So yeah, there is that. Any news about David Knowles? We did address that in the beginning. We did address his unfortunate passing in the beginning, but I mean, I don't know anything other than everyone else knows, right? Like, it was a health emergency, it was cardiac arrest, and he unfortunately passed away. I don't know any more than that, but it's a very, very unfortunate loss and will be felt around the world, and it's really sad. Shahed drone with explosives fell in Latvia during Russian shelling of Ukraine. So Latvia has confirmed that drone, the Shahed that fell on its territory, actually carried explosives. The United States and its partners are ready to take serious sanctions against Iran in connection with the provision of assistance to Russia and the transfer of ballistic missiles by Tehran to Moscow. So yeah, Iran sent a very, 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 very huge amount of missiles, ballistic missiles, to Russia. And the idea is that they're going to try and take out Ukraine's civil infrastructure, so like electrical grid, before the winter with those. And also because they now have these Iranian missiles, they can use Kinjals for deeper strikes into Lviv and places like that. So that's fun. Hungary secures Russian oil supply through Ukraine, says Bloomberg. Hungary has reached an agreement for the continued supply of Russian oil through Ukraine, despite Ukraine's previous ban on Lukoil using its territory as a transit route. Under the new arrangement, MOL, the company that controls oil refineries in Hungary and Slovakia, will take over the supply of oil at the Belarusian-Ukrainian border starting from September 9th. Previously, the Russian side was responsible for the delivery of oil to the borders of Hungary and Slovakia with Ukraine. This development marks a significant shift in the logistics of Russian oil supply to the region amidst the ongoing geopolitical tensions. Still shouldn't be freaking happening. You can buy oil from Azerbaijan, you can buy oil from Kazakhstan, you can buy oil from Dubai for all I fucking care. You can buy oil from many places. You do not need to buy oil from Russia. I don't care. And Hungary and Slovakia are both freaking countries with fascist governments. Fantastic. Hi, Maria. Of course they did it for a reason, to watch the reaction of the world, but also, like, here is the thing. If anyone, so missiles have fallen in Romania before, drones and missiles, and in Poland, right? And NATO is like, nope, we're not going to do anything. And Poland is just kind of like, okay, well, we have to listen to NATO. One of the things, like, I'm obviously not happy that there is a drone that fell onto Latvia, but I'm happy that it's the Baltics and that no one got hurt, because the Baltics are vocal and the Baltics are fantastic supporters of Ukraine. And I mean, like, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, like, you guys rock. Honestly, like, you are probably the best representation and like closest allies we have in general. It's one of those things where, like, I know that your governments will not let it slide, and they will not just like breeze over it and pretend like it didn't happen. I am so very, very, very grateful to have Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia on our side. And I'm so very grateful to have them in NATO, because first of all, you guys are protected. Second of all, like, it's a fantastic voice of advocacy that we have, and I know that something will be done about it. The U.S. to deploy missile systems in Japan, previously banned under INF treaty, the Japan Times reported. The United States plans to deploy Typhoon ground-based medium-range missile systems in Japan, a move that comes after the collapse of the Russian-American intermediate-range nuclear forces. The INF treaty, which was in place since 1987, prohibited the development and deployment of certain missile systems with ranges between 500 and 5,500 kilometers in Japan. Well, Japan is rearming and Japan is remilitarizing, which we've talked about before, which is a huge deal to begin with. And it's not uncanny that the US is going to be reworking its policies. The IAEA has confirmed that the reactors at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, currently occupied by Russian forces, will not be restarted while the war continues, according to the IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi during his recent visit to the ZNPP. You know what's funny? His reaction to the Kursk nuclear power plant having Ukrainian military far but closer than before because they're now in Kursk was much stronger than than his reaction to the Russian military literally occupying Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant for 2.5 years now, and the fact that they keep like military equipment and gear there and don't know how the fuck to operate this nuclear power plant to begin with. So yeah, I really do not care what he has to say about Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and whether he considers it safe or not, because he considers that in the hands of Russians and their nuclear terrorism safer than freaking Ukrainian military being in Kursk, nowhere near the freaking power plant. And also, Ukrainians have shown that we do not partake in nuclear terrorism and that we would not by any means be occupying anything like that. Hungary plans to redirect its allocation from the European Peace Fund towards Chad's defense rather than supporting Ukraine's military efforts. Of course they are, because they will redirect their money anywhere just so it doesn't go to Ukraine, because of course that doesn't work with Daddy Putin, does it? Also, there is some sort of a chest over there, which is so weird. Oh, so someone sent it. Oh, that's cool. Okay, well, there is a treasure chest, you guys. That's so cool. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't know that was a thing. I was just like, so weird. According to a Bloomberg report, Ukraine faces not only a need for more weapons, but also for permission to use them effectively. The article criticizes the US approach, arguing that by supplying weapons to Ukraine while restricting their use, particularly in striking targets within Russian territory, the Biden administration is effectively limiting Kyiv's ability to defend itself and bring the war to a quicker end. Of course it is. That's exactly what's happening. Being able to strike the very airfields that Russia literally kills us from is defense, not offense. And also, like, you're not going to defeat Putin by like tiptoeing against his rules and red lines, because that just shows him that you're scared of him. You're only going to defeat Putin by showing him that you're not scared. Also, we constantly talk about stupid Russia's red lines, but we're not like establishing our own, and that's the problem. It's like, why is Russia not scared of freaking NATO's red lines? Because first of all, NATO seems like it doesn't have red lines. It's like, oh, drones in our territory, too bad. Oh, another thing in our territory, too bad. Sad. Anyways, I'm so tired of just like Western politicians acting like wusses and being more scared of Russia than like making Russia scared of them. It's so pathetic. It's really sad to watch. Okay, you guys, I thank you so much for joining today. I will try to do lives more often. Also, we are now at $300 for our Starling fundraiser because of Brian R. Thank you very much. I'm going to check all the apps right now to see if any donations. Oh, yep. I knew I meant. See, this is why I check them, because I don't have notifications on Venmo. Okay, so I don't know. 8 Life, tell me. The emojis are lovely. Oh, okay. I know what this is for. All right. Sorry. Sometimes I Okay, so yeah, we're at $300 for the fundraiser, and that's great. I'm glad thank you, Brian. Oh, thank you so much for subscribing. And I will be updating you guys obviously every time as we go. Normally, I read out all the donations as they come. I just happened to miss one today when it did come, but I'm glad I checked PayPal before going to sleep. Also, if you have the ability to subscribe to the TikTok live feature or become a YouTube or become a YouTube subscriber, it's highly appreciated because it does help me pay my bills and does help me. It does go a very, very, very long way, and I really, really appreciate it. And if you have the ability to do so, or subscribe to Patreon, or really anything, this is how I fund the ability to go live and do videos and stuff like that, because I really make about maybe a dollar on a good day from like 3 TikTok videos together. And it's really appreciated, really goes a very, very long way and really helps me a lot. Okay, you guys. I will see you hopefully soon. Oh, that's awesome. Welcome to Kyiv. I will see you hopefully soon. I'll try to like come up with something like a little meetup in Canada and in the US when I'm there for a month. And I miss you guys. I wish I could go live more often. It's just sometimes I'm like, not sometimes, most of the time I work so much now that I am exhausted. But now that I have a schedule, I think that it's safe to say that I could be doing lives on like Fridays and the weekends. And I will try to do random lives here and there. It's just also, I've started going to bed at a normal time, and I really don't want to fuck that up, because like right now it's almost where are you going in Canada? Toronto. Well, Toronto area. It's almost 2 a.m., you know. If my Sorry, one sec. If my very bad memory serves me right, did you take us on a walk around your grandma's district in one of your very early streams that was the same place? I think so. I think I did. PayPal. I don't even have Cash App, but yes, PayPal for sure, Brian. Yeah, I don't like, yeah, I have Venmo, PayPal, and Revolut. But yeah, alrighty, you guys. I really, really appreciate you. I will try to do random lives here and there. What I was trying to say is that it's almost 2 a.m. and this is the latest I've gone to bed in a while. And you guys know me. I go to bed really late, and I've been going to bed at like 1 a.m. And I mean like falling asleep at 1 a.m. So this is out of the ordinary for me. Wild, right? 2 a.m. Where are you? Kyiv, Ukraine. Okay, so I'll see you guys soon. I promise. Like I will not be, I will not take breaks as long as I did before. But yeah. Okay. Bye. Good night. Sweet dreams.